Big windows.
I'm just sitting in front of the light so that I look important,
Ah,
shining through.
you planned everything. Oh, I see your works, Mike. Mark.
Mark.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with sorry, this the text didn't show up. I'm gonna start with the e-cigarette. So as the first,
Oh.
you see it right? It starts since the ancient of the Egypt. People use the hot stone with the oils and herb to inhale and vapor they produce. And the next one is 1927 that Joseph Robinson, the person who patent for the electric vaporizer for medical that we use for the chemical to inhale inside the lungs for using extremely cure the disease. And the next is 1963 Herbert Hubert, the patent the smokeless non-tobacco cigarette to create the vaping. And 1979 the technology, the pioneer Pirate and personal doctor who trying to work on the first commercial e-cigarette. You can see the picture that I took into the screen. It's the evolution of the e-cigarette that they tend to create. And 2003, they start to researching how the is electronic cigarette trying to work on the with the nicotine. They call the juice that they use and combination. In 2006, the first e-cigarette became available to the public because it's more safe and more cheap to using for treatment to people who addict to the cigarette and more safety. In 2009, it's become the wire around the world by Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, and Brazil. They start to ban the e-cigarette because it cannot be caught on the tax by the country. In 2010, the vaping event they start to using in the American and England. They start the event and the next year is a public health suggests e-cigarette have the potential more harm and reduction to after conclusion of the first clinical trial. For the 2012 to 2060 is a people trying to use the vaping at the emerge with the event of the cigarette, and they're trying to going research about the safety, and until 2060 they pronounce that vaping is the most people who interest more than the cigarette. So as the first the picture you can see the short timeline that who produced the vaping until the person who create the vaping more stable, and until 2006 they try to customize the e-cigarette have more function and more flavor, not just like put in the nicotine.
And what else? Like, do you have any study about Thailand when the vaping stuff come to Thailand?
The vaping is come to Thailand since 2003. Yeah,
2003.
Yes, as I know, they took it because it's become the new thing in Thailand that people use. As a in the picture you can see the second model.
Okay, the lower left, right?
Yes.
Can you zoom in, like, to make it more resolution for me? I zoom it by my own iPad, but I couldn't see it clear enough. Can you zoom in?
But
Hong Lik developed electric in Beijing, but no, it's not in Thailand. It's Beijing. But I just want to know, like, the timeline or history in Thailand. I really like the idea that you raised up. You didn't go back to the smoky things like the tobacco cigarette, but you just come up with the idea of vaping. Vaping is different things from smoke, and I want you to explain more. Smoke and vaping, what the different things.
Smoking is is start with a high temperature that people get from the burning. But vaping is more like you use the metal and the water touch it together to vaporize it to get just the vapor. But smoking is more like you put the fire on the tobacco to get the smoke and inhale into your lungs to get the chemical. It's quite different because smoking is more like the air, but vaping is more like the water.
But I think the concept of the vaping is come up from the smoking things, right? But they but they just put something out of the smoking and make things new as the vaping. As you can see,
Mhm.
like not it's just not burning something, but it
Mhm.
you dip you smoke not you just smoke, you vaping something that is was producing from waters and some materials to making you high. But the word high, I couldn't I will not use the word high, but I think you should describe the activity of smoking first. Why do we have to smoke, and why do we change the smoke to vaping, and what different,
Mhm.
right? You
Okay.
understand the Thai content priority designs, and and this is a roughly Western timeline. But I just
Mhm.
want to know because as far as I know, the cigarette is is legal in Thailand, but the e-cigarettes still illegal in Thailand, right?
Mhm. Yes.
But why? Why is illegal in Thailand till now? Because like in the world was invented in 1963, is almost like 60 years already, but we
Mhm.
cannot have this kind of thing in Thailand. What is the problems? What is the burden?
The problem is you know, right? In Thai we have the factory of the tobacco.
Mm,
Mm-hmm. That's mean it can count on the tax that
mm-hmm,
people pay for the for the tobacco, right?
mm-hmm,
But the different because vaping
mm-hmm,
uh we don't have uh any kind of the like to produce the vaping and the juice, so it's have to import from the another country, right?
mm-hmm. But that means that the vaping still have in
Mm-hmm.
Thailand, but it's
Still have.
from but you are just leak to the
Mm-hmm.
country, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's mean like you are. This is not everyday life for a normal person. This is
Mm-hmm.
this is your own everyday life, which is illegal. But
Mm-hmm.
but I think you have to study more about is whipping means something that can healing
Mm-hmm.
the health issue. I think the whipping in the terms of medicine or medical do
Mm-hmm.
I think they have, but it's not like individual e-cigarette, but it's used
Mm-hmm.
for the meditation or I mean, not meditation but medical. And I think that you will understand why we don't have this thing as an individual lifestyle, and you will understand Thai more. I'm not sure that you have studied about the whipping in the daytime. I mean, in the bright world, in the bright side of Thailand. I think you are still living in the dark. You
Mm-hmm.
understand it as an illegal thing, as an e-cigarette that you can leak from your friend, from the international friend. But I
Mm-hmm.
think if you understand from both sides, from the brighter worlds, that why they cannot in, but they still have this kind of the healing by the whipping things. I think they have in
Mm-hmm.
hospital for sure. But
To
you
me,
can see like yeah.
yeah, I think uh, Mark is trying to like I think it gets really interesting when you start talking about the legality of the
Yeah.
or taxation or something like that you just mentioned. Like all this history stuff, like it's like stuff that you can Google. So it's like not so interesting to me. But like you're vaping right now, and that's like I feel like you have such a personal connection to vaping, and I think to
Mm,
go and find out about the thing that you're so passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
I think we can go one step a little beyond, finding kind of like this kind of infographic, and so it gets more like the stuff that gets more interesting to me is like the picture that's all the way down at the bottom, and
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you have that, you have tried that, and you have a personal connection to that, and try to go find out like how did this thing come about, or I think that's more for me, that's really going to be where you want to spend the rest of your time on when you look at something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like the passion comes through when you start talking about like, oh, I can't, like you can't import this, or how legal is it, or like what's the perception of someone vaping or something like that in Thailand. Like I think that's where the meat of the presentation that I would love to hear more. Like right now I think the history stuff you can learn about yourself, but like how does it relate to you personally, and how does it become something that, like, I think him and Ryu had talking that Tim talked about the key, and then Ryu talked about what was the topic? Blank my mind.
Tim locked the door.
The Stettler thing, right?
The settler Tim.
The Stettler pencil, and it just feels like, oh, like they have such personal connection to these products. So I wonder, for Mark's case, like tell us a little bit more about yourself before, like the generic history stuff. I think that's exciting for me, but for me, I'm like, I want to see where your passion shines.
How do you know vaping? Since this illegal in Thailand, but how do you know? How do you get involved with this one? Your friends?
You mean I involved with the vaping?
Yeah.
Because the smell of the cigarette is not good, and it's disturb everyone around me, and I start to admit in the hospital every month. Yes, as you know, I went to hospital a lot of time because of the cigarette, but vaping is more fine because I get just the nicotine.
But that means you are smoked before, or you just with your communities, or you smoke before, and then it's affect to your health, and then you change to vaping. I think that turning point is very interesting, as Ajahn Purin said. It could represent you as well, and you can revealing your story and think in with the Thai contemporary design, because we are all designers and we have to see the point of view of you, the perspective of you is important. So if you're starting from your own perception, your own story, and then you study more on that, go deeper about, okay, why do I change from smoking to vaping? Okay, how do I get this one, and why it's still illegal? Because they have pro and con, right? But you have to reveal this thing to us, so we can understand what is the story behind the contemporary design. We couldn't agree more. Vaping is the things right now that we're living, right? And I have many friends which is like prefer vaping more than smoke, but it's kind of weird that they are not allowed to do it publicly because it's still illegal. But why? What is the deal? I think they have more story, just not just a tech, I think.
Okay, I will fix something.
So sorry, I have to leave to go teach the other class. I'm a little bit late to that.
Okay, thank you, Jaipurian. You make the class
Thank you so
more
much.
fun. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Jaipurian. Okay, back to me. I think Mark to study more about the Thai history, or maybe start from your story to how do you know this vaping stuff, and what is the situation from the vaping things in Thailand right now, or maybe like before, and what is the futures of these things? Because I really like how you involved with this vaping, because this is you, and this is the real thing in Thailand. We have this thing, but we cannot agree. We cannot accept this as the legal things. But why? That's pretty weird. And weird is Thai. Thainess is something that weird. Okay. Do boss already here? Boss, hello. Right?
Hello.
Okay, you already here, so it's time for you to present us your works. Oh, yellow guy.
Morning.